Idea of being soul catchers, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on introductory ideas because I just want to jump into what we've already been into sort of all week. It's sort of captivated our lives. You know, the irony of Houston, the irony of Texas is that this is happening not just in Houston, this is happening not just in Texas. I mean, this is happening in various places throughout the world. You know, in India, over 1,000 dead last week from flooding. Um, but as I watched these images, I couldn't help but think, I don't remember anything like this in my life. Like, there was Katrina like 12, 14 years ago, right? But even that wasn't this. And it's just like so many images, like it's just overwhelming what has really happened here in America. And one of the things I've been thinking about, because we're thinking about prophecy and we're getting ready to do homecoming, we're thinking about all those kinds of things and end time events, and Jesus said there will be perplexities. Perplexities are problems without solutions. And one of the things the mayor in Houston said, because he was getting criticism about not evacuating early enough, and he said, if you think, listen to what he said, if you think we have a crisis now, you just imagine the crisis if you put 6.5 million people on the road instantly. And I thought about this in terms of prophetic proportions, because what I know is what we see is nothing compared to what the Bible says is ahead. So when I think about Houston, I'm perplexed. I'm troubled. I'm confused, because I'm thinking, what if something like Houston was to happen in multiple places at the same time? I mean, we're calling in the Coast Guard. We're calling in the Navy now. We've called in the military. We've mobilized every arm of government we can for one city. But the problems of the end are going to be on more than one city. I'm perplexed about images like this and stories like this. This is a nursing home that could not evacuate. These people are not abandoned. There's just nothing that you can do. My heart is troubled and confused about this elderly woman who just keeps crocheting there in the chair. Like she's up to her armpits in water, but what else can I do? And then there was this story. I mean, I know you've seen all these stories. I know it, but we can't really get into what's going on in our world and what we should be doing and how we should be responding without facing the reality of where we are in Earth's history. I mean, I listened to the audio voice of a mother talk about the phone call she got from a police officer informing her that her parents, her mother, and her father, and her only 4 children were in a van that was swept off the road, and they all instantly drowned. I mean, we can send money, we can send funding, and we should. I sent out an email of how you can give through the Adventist Church to the relief, and we need to be doing that. But you can never give that mother back her parents or her children. That's what it is. It is what it is. And there's also been images of great heroism, hasn't there? Like, and I want to believe that that's what we are. I want to believe we're in this world that's flooding, not just with water. It's flooding with chaos. We're in this world that's flooding with instability. We're in this world that's flooding with problems. It's flooding with cancers. It's flooding with diabetes. It's flooding with economic problems. It's flooding with corruption in the highest places. It's just flooding with problems. But there's heroes in every flood. And I want to think that we're like this, man. Like we'll just come in and we'll just pick up those who are in trouble. We will just hold them in our arms, and we will use our might. And the volunteers that have come forward in this flood, I mean, like, these people aren't necessarily believers, but they're willing to go out there. They're willing to put themselves in danger. Some of them have lost their lives rescuing other people. Because I want to believe that that's what the church is willing to do. I want to believe that the church is like the Cajun Army or the Cajun Navy. You hear about the Cajun Navy? Have you heard? They're just a navy of volunteers that were in Katrina. Volunteers who lived through Katrina, who went to Houston with their boats. They called themselves the Cajun Navy. And they just went out there with their boats. They just showed up and they just launched their boats into the city of Houston. And they just went rescuing people. And you know what they are? The Cajun Navy. They're soul catchers. They're soul catchers. They went out looking for souls who were being swept away by the signs of the times. And they captured them. They were soul catchers. And so this story, I mean, this is my absolutely favorite one so far. I mean, I'm sure there are many great stories to come. I'm sorry the pictures aren't great because the pictures weren't great on the news story because it was filmed on someone's phone. And this old man, this elderly man, my wife would say don't use that word, this elderly man was in this van. He was driving down what was a legitimate road. It was a legitimate road. And the flash flood broke through and the dams broke. And he was swept into this fast-moving water. And his van was swept right off the road. And he was yelling out his window for someone to save him. And he was being swept down what once was a road into a fast-moving river. And these people who were just there in the crowd, they were just people like us. They were just standing there and they're like, oh! And they immediately took each other's hands and they clasped each other's hands and they went hand to hand all the way down into this fast-moving river, holding each other's hand, forming a human chain. Fighting the current, washing against each other, but knowing they were stronger together than alone. And they got all the way out to this guy's van. And then someone climbs on the roof of this van and opens it up and pulls this guy out. And then they go backwards, hand to hand with this guy. All the way back in. This guy was being swept away. He had no hope, and they were soul catchers. And the truth of the matter is, this world is being swept away. It's not that they have no hope. It's not that they have no hope. It's more that they know of no hope. Who is going to be the soul catchers of this world? Who are going to be those who would take each other's hand and hold each other steady as we march into moving waters to rescue the helpless? You see, that's a soul catcher. Proverbs 11, it's basically a proverb that is about the righteous and the wicked. And you read it, and it says what you would think a proverb about the righteous and the wicked would say. It says, Here are the rewards for the righteous. Here's what happens if you're righteous. And then it talks about here's what are the rewards for the wicked. And here are all the bad things that happen to the wicked. And we go through Proverbs 11, and you can go all the way down Proverbs 11, and it's basically an ongoing dialogue or list or explanation of why you should be the righteous and why you should not be the wicked. Until you get to the last part of chapter 11. Then it becomes about how the righteous can get distracted. And how if the righteous are really wise, and if the righteous really practice righteousness, the floods of this world, the storms of this world, the problems of this world, the complexities of this world, the perplexities of this world will not sweep them away. But they will go out to pull the wicked from the flood. They will go out to pull the wicked from destruction. So if you think about it structurally, there's this list of why you should be righteous, this list of why you should not be wicked, and then at the end, a warning about distraction. You know, and a warning that says, if you're really wise, you don't get distracted by the things of this world. You'll go saving the wicked. And so the question comes, will you be there? Will you be willing to be in the Cajun Navy? Will you be willing to be a soul catcher? Will you be there to catch someone when they need you most? Do you know that song, Just When I Needed Him Most? No, we like to sing that. It's one of the good hymns, I think. I think it's a hymn, just when I needed you most, he was there. Where are we when they need us most? Are we staying in Louisiana? Or are we packing up our boats and heading to Houston? Are we going to go because they need us most? And so in verse 28 it says, whoever trusts in his riches, he will fall. But the righteous will what? Flourish. Like a branch or like a green leaf, like there's life there. And you just think about what's been going on this year. I mean, you think about what's going on this week. Just think about, did we believe this could happen? Yeah, this happens in other parts of the world all the time, but not in America, right? We have infrastructure, right? We have weathermen even. So many people trusted in their riches. Why didn't people leave? I think the mayor of Houston is right. You just try to move 6.5 million people in a couple hours and see what happens. It will be like a stampede. But I also know, I've also talked to, and maybe you have too, people who just were not willing to leave their houses. I mean, you talk to them, and the flood is coming their way, and they're being warned. It's mandatory to get out. No, this is all I have. I'm staying. Let me tell you, if your riches are all you have nothing. You have nothing. If your riches are all you have nothing. You don't even have common sense. Whoever trusts in what? His riches, he will fall. He will be swept away. He will be knocked down. He will be destroyed, because the things that are going to happen and the things that are happening are not things that money fixes. They are things that faith fixes. But if you are righteous, if you live in faith, if you are righteous, if you are connected to Christ, if you are righteous, if you have a faith that endures in hard times, that grows from hard times, then it doesn't matter about the level of adversity that you end up in, because Christ is with you and Christ is growing you and Christ is making you like a green leaf, like a branch, Brother Saul, that is sprouting out to life when everyone else is going down. So Proverbs 11 says, don't be distracted by money. Now, we need money, but don't make it your God. When push comes to trust, is your trust in the mighty buck or the mighty God? That's what it comes down to. Because if your trust is in the mighty buck, you need to spend a little time in Revelation 18. For the merchants of Babylon will wail, because the economy will be destroyed. And the wealth of this earth will go down just like Houston did. And so, I like this saying. You guys know the saying? It kind of sums up American culture in one quote. Right? I say this holding a toy in my hand. Whoever has the most toys when he dies wins. And it's like we have become addicted. I'm not just talking about electronics. I'm not just talking about cars. I'm not just talking about phones. I'm not just talking about it's whatever. We are addicted to having things to be addicted to. You know, and we like them better if they come with a monthly charge. If I can pay for it once and not keep being punished, I don't really care about it too much. But our favorite toys come with reoccurring charges on them. And we've adopted this idea, whoever dies with the most toys wins. And we say we don't fall into that, but we all have the new gadgets. We say we don't fall into that, but we all care about what people think about where we live. We say we don't fall into that, but we all seem to care about who has the nice clothes. I mean, it's a human problem, and I like the way this guy put it better. What did he say? He said, he who dies with the least toys wins, because the more you know, the less you need. I really like what he's saying. I'm just going to tweak him. My apologies to him. I'm just going to tweak him with one little tweak, okay? He who dies with the least toys wins. Because the more you know God, the less you need. The more you know God, the less you need. And you know, maybe we feel good because, hey, I'm not that rich, and and I don't fall into that camp, and I might be if I could, but I'm not, so I'm good, right? But then there's a second distraction that Proverbs tells us about. Whoever troubles his own household will inherit the wind, and a fool will be a servant to the wise of heart. Whoever troubles his own household will inherit the wind. Now, it could be your family. I mean, we don't need to be so literal with this. It's a principle. It's a spiritual principle. It could be your own family, okay? It could be maybe you are a troublemaker in your family. It could be that maybe you are a troublemaker at your work. Maybe you like to go to work and stir everyone up and wind them up. Maybe, heaven forbid, not at Solid Rock. You like to trouble your own church. You get bored in the pew and you like to find someone there's something wrong with, or maybe you can start a rumor. It doesn't matter if it's work, it doesn't matter if it's home, but I have a word for these people. I have a name for these people. I say it in my head, I don't say it out loud, but I'm going to share it with you. So if you're ever one of those troublemaking people, you can know I'm thinking it. Are you ready? They're drama llamas. Don't be a drama llama. Could you say that with me? I mean, it's a great word. It just sounds awesome. I want to hear us all say it together. 1, 2, 3. Drama llama. Don't be a drama llama. A drama llama has their head so far up in the clouds that they can see over top of everybody and find the problems with them. That's why they're a drama llama. They 1 minute they have a normal neck, and the next thing they're just like, oh yeah, there's a problem. Oh yeah, there's a problem. And they're drama llamas. Do you know these kind of people? These kind of people who, no matter what's going on, they always have a problem. No matter how good the church is doing, no matter how good the family is doing, no matter how good the company is doing, the drama llama's got a problem. They'll line out front of your bedroom door and they'll say, Mom, I want to tell you what. Oh, that's my house, sorry. Or they're lying outside your office at work. Boss, I want to tell you what someone else was doing. Or they'll line outside my church door in another church, not here. And they'll say, Pastor, you got a minute? Can I have a word with you? Sometimes they can't wait. It'd be like, I'll be preaching, someone will be texting me a complaint about somebody. There are two main things at the end of Proverbs 11 that make the righteous lose wisdom and turn into the wicked. Did you hear me? They make the righteous lose wisdom and turn into the wicked. Now, this is important because I believe that in the end times, I believe in the end days, and we're heading towards our prophecy seminar, so I'm thinking more and more that way. I believe that there are going to be two kinds of people at the very end. Do you? Jesus talked about it in Matthew 25, and we're going to talk about that in our homecoming presentations. But Jesus said there would be sheep and there would be goats. And it's like really interesting because the sheep and the goat don't know which ones they are. And I don't got time for all that. We'll unpack that later. But you know what? It's often the drama llamas who think they're sheep. And there's one test to see if you're a drama llama or a sheep. It's how long is your neck? Where are you looking? Because a drama llama will always find a problem. Now, that doesn't mean if there's not a legitimate problem, you shouldn't raise it. You should. But there's some people that always find it. And then there are other people who can't get to church. They can't get the prayer meeting. They can't get the morning devotion time. They can't get the Friday night Bible study. They can't get to anything. They can't get to Sabbath school. Now we're all busy. We live in Northern Virginia. We live in D.C. I get it. I get it. It could take you an hour to get here. Or you might waste 5 minutes dialing in on Zoom. But there are two things that make the righteous the wicked in the end, according to Proverbs 11. And they are people who are so consumed with making money, people who are so consumed about living a secular life, people so consumed with material goods that they got no time for God and definitely no time for church. They will never be a part of your human chain, because to be part of a human chain that saves someone in fast-moving water, you've got to be by the side of the road, but they're never by the side of the road. They're always off because cash is king. And the other type is they're by the side of the road, but they don't want to join the human chain because they're like, I can't join the human chain. Someone has to supervise this chain. Someone has to tell the guy on top of that car that he's not going to get the door open that way. And someone needs to tell that person that you need to put somebody else next to the chain, not that person. They're the drama llamas. Two types of people, according to Proverbs 11, who are righteous, who lose their wisdom and become wicked. Those who love money. Those who love drama. So he goes on in verse 30, and he says, but the fruit, the branch, right, Saul? The fruit, the branch, the green leaf, right? It started out as a green leaf, it started out as a branch, and now it's doing what? It's bearing fruit. The fruit of the righteous is what? Are you with me? The fruit of the righteous is what? The tree of life. Isn't that where we're going? Come on, church. We're a prophetic church. Aren't we on our way to the tree of life? Any of you ever read Revelation 14? We're marching to where? Zion. That's where the tree of life is. The fruit of the tree of life. The fruit of righteousness is the tree of life. And whoever, what? Captures what? Souls is what? Wise. You can't capture souls if you're just trying to capture cash. Let me say it again. You can't capture souls if you're just trying to capture cash. And when I say cash, I don't mean just money. I mean all material wealth. I mean all material status symbols. I mean all materialism. There was a time in my head once when I figured, gee, I could do evangelism more effectively if I literally paid someone as if it was a job to come to my meeting. Like, that's the society we're in. We're almost there. You almost have to sell tickets to an event to get anyone to come. Why? Because if you don't pay for it, it's not valuable. Because king is cash. And the other problem is there's always going to have someone going to have a problem with whatever you do. Those are the wicked who were once righteous. The wise are those who are going to eat from the tree of life. The wise are on the way to the tree of life. The wise are marching to Zion. The wise are forming human chains in fast-moving times, in rescuing people who are being pulled away by satanic powers. That's the wise. The wise are soul catchers. The wise are looking out for more than themselves, more than their cash, more than their materialism. The wise are looking out for more than their drama, more than their excitement. The wise are the Cajun Navy. They're willing to put their life on the line. This morning I got an email just before I came out here from a friend, and he was telling me that he was moved. I haven't seen the story yet. I don't know the story. I could have facts wrong. I only read an email that a friend sent to me right before I came out here. And he was talking about some of the wise who got in their boats and went to save some people today or yesterday or whenever. And their boat ran over a live wire and electrocuted them. Because there's all these down power lines. Let me be brutally honest with you. It's not safe out there. Let me be brutally honest with you. The devil is a roaring lion, and he is looking to devour. Let me just be really honest with you. It is better to die in the Cajun Navy. Than to be a soldier in the wicked war of hell. Because I don't know about you, but I want to follow Jesus. And Jesus died bringing people to the tree of life. Jesus died on a tree of death so we could eat from the tree of life. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say there's not a cost. But the cost needs to be tempered with the reality that if the righteous is repaid on earth with things like boats that run over electric wires, how much worse will it be for the wicked? How much worse will it be for the sinner? And that's the note that Proverbs 11 keeps telling us. It's better to live and die with the wise than to march to hell with the wicked. I'm going to tell you 3 embarrassing stories. 3 quick embarrassing stories. 3 stories about me almost drowning. The first one, some of you heard in Friday Night Bible a while ago. My father once, I was 6 years old, so I was like a year older than Jose. And this is why Jose took swimming lessons. My father dropped me off at a pool, and he was talking with some friends, and he said, Vince, on this side is the shallow end, stay over here. And on this side is the deep end, don't go over there. And, what do you think I did? I stayed in the safe end. Come on. For a little while. And then I was like, I'm not going to go over there because that's dangerous. And my daddy told me not to go over there because it's dangerous. But over here, it's okay. Over here, it's okay. My dad's a good guy, but I bet he's never been in this pool. And he's not looking now. I just looked over there someplace. There was no gradual incline. It was like there was this line halfway through the pool, and one side was deep, and the other side was not. And I looked up, and the water was above my head by about this much. Do you know what I saw next? A soul catcher. A soul catcher. And it wasn't my dad. It was just some lady on the side. And she jumped in and she pulled me to life. You would think I would learn. You guys have no confidence in my ability to learn, do you? I see you smirking. I was 12. I had 6 years to learn my lesson and didn't. I was at my favorite fishing place, and they were doing construction in the river. They were building a dam to dam up the water for wildlife. It was like a duck reserve or something. And so the backhoe would come in, and it had dug open this big hole, and right on the shore. So like it was like the shore where I'd always fish, but now there was like this hole that was like 20 feet deep. And the water flowed into it from the river. And so I was not going to jump down there. I know what you're thinking. I am not that dumb. And it's not my fault that there was a pop bottle floating in the water down there. And we really wanted to hit that pop bottle with rocks. So we were just like throwing these rocks down this big hole. Just like, whoop. Everyone's trying to get it. Who's going to get it first? Who's going to get it first? And I'm like, I'm going to get it first. I'm going to get it first. And I'm like standing like on the edge of where the backhoe cut into the ground. And I'm like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Boom. I fell like 10 feet, hit the water, kept going, and it was worse because it was a backhoe who dug into mud. Now, anyone who does construction knows what's going to happen when the river comes into this mucky. I began to sink. I not only hit the bottom, I felt the bottom come up to my knees. I jumped with all of my might, and guess what? I came up and I got air. But what I found at the top were no soul catchers. I found a bunch of kids my age running around going crazy. Ah! And I went back down. And I sunk back into the mud. And air went out of my lungs. And I jumped again. I came back up. Bunch of kids running around. Help! Help! Someone help this guy! No one's doing a thing to help me. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but you know how 12 and 14-year-old kids are. They talk and they say these things. And we always had this thing, like, I don't know if it's true, but we'd say, if you go down 3 times, that's it. You don't come back up. So now I'm going down the 3rd time. I'm sinking into the mud. All the air goes out of my lungs, and I actually gave up. It's the truth. I gave up. I assumed it was over. I believed the story that if you go down 3 times, you're out. And I just prepared to die. It's crazy, and it's true. If you've been there, you know your life really does flash before your eyes. And I don't know how to explain it other than it's really fast and it happens. I think it's got something to do with the oxygen leaving your brain. But I knew it was like 10 feet to the top, and I was like 4 feet probably in mud. And I knew that there was no one up there. And then the strangest thing happened right at the end of my life flashing before my eyes. Bam! I heard a gunshot go off. Like, I'm underwater and I hear a gunshot go off. What were they building that dam for? Ducks. And who likes ducks? Hunters. And who was up there screaming their heads out? My friends. And who heard them? A duck hunter. And what did he do? He dropped his gun. And what happened? The gun went off. And what happened? I freaked out and jumped up one more time. And what happened? There was a duck hunting soul catcher at the top. And you know what I saw as soon as I came out of the water? A gun in my face. Holy gun. He said, grab a hold of this. I was not in a position to argue. He pulled me out. He was a soul catcher. 2 years later. What are you guys laughing at? 2 years later. I'm 14 now. And I'm visiting Ontario because I'm from the East Coast, and my uncle owns a camp up there, and we're going to be at the camp for a month. And there are 2 things you can do on this camp: boat and swim. And they won't let me on the boat because I can't swim. So my 3rd soul catcher came to me. He came to me and he gave me something. A life jacket. He said, I know about you. You drowned all the time. Your mom told me how easy it is for you to drown. You're not drowning on my watch. You can be on the boat and you can be in the water, but you better have this life jacket on every time I see you at this camp. So for a whole month, I went around wearing this life jacket. I was 14. I looked really goofy. I wish someone had taken a picture. But he was a soul catcher. And I never drowned. And then at the end of the summer, he unzipped the life jacket. pushed me off the boat. And I swam. You can be a soul catcher. You can invite someone to the meeting. You can be a soul catcher. You can even invite to the meeting 3 times. Or you can be a soul catcher. And you can teach people to give their life to Jesus. Like my uncle finally taught me to swim. It's not enough to pull someone from the water. You need to teach them how to swim. This is what this card does every week. This card teaches people to swim. This card, as you will see in a minute, has a place for people to make decisions to learn how to spiritually swim. I'm going to tell you something. It is really hard to wear a life jacket when nobody else is. And they're all pointing at you. Oh, look at that guy wearing a life jacket. If we want people to fill this out during homecoming, if we want to do more than invite people so they can learn to drown again, we have to teach people how to swim. We have to teach people how to make decisions. I need you to covet with me to be a soul catcher. And all you have to do is in the appeal time at the end of each meeting, fill out your card, fill it out proudly, fill it out boldly, let them see you fill it out. Don't do it over in the corner. Don't say, oh, I've been going to this church for years. They don't need to know where I live. They already know that. Just fill it out. So that the person beside you will think, that's what we do here. We fill it out. If you could lead someone to Jesus in 3 minutes, in 1 minute, you can fill out a card. And you can be more than a soul catcher that changes a life. You can be a soul catcher that saves a life. Marvin, lead us.
Savior, like a shepherd, lead us. Much we need thy tender care. In thy pleasant pastures feed us. For our use thy fold prepare. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, thou hast brought us thy beyond. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, thou hast brought us thy beyond. We are thine, do thou befriend us, be the guardian of our way. Keep thy flock from sin, defend us, seek us when we go astray. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, hear us when we pray. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, hear us when we pray.
I believe that Jesus will hear us when we pray. And I believe Jesus will bring people to homecoming. And I believe that when people see us filling out our card, as I am filling out my card. People will want to fit in. And I believe that peer pressure, I mean, don't you feel like picking up your card right now? I believe that peer pressure can be positive. I believe that peer pressure doesn't have to make you do drugs. Doesn't need to make you engage in immoral behavior. I believe that peer pressure could make you check a box like, I would like to become a follower of Jesus. I believe God could use that. Or maybe I would like to prepare for baptism. Or maybe I'd like to begin Bible studies, transfer my membership. And there's even a place where you could write where you want to transfer your membership. Or serve at the church. Other or your prayer requests. I'm filling out my prayer requests right now. I don't know what you're doing. But my prayer request is that you will be a soul catcher. That you will commit to be a soul catcher. And that starting on September 18th, just like I did with you now, you will fill out your card every week. Marvin, let's give them another verse and give them a chance to fill out their cards.
Thou hast promised to receive us, poor and sinful only me. Thou hast mercy to relieve us, grace to cleanse and power to free. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, we will early turn to thee. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, we will early turn to thee. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, we will early turn to thee. Blessed Jesus, blessed Jesus, we will early turn to thee. We will early turn to thee.
Dear Heavenly Father, please heal this world. Heal this world of the brokenness that we have done that we won't even admit to. Heal this world. We know that these natural disasters are of our own making. We know that you designed the world perfect and that we brought sin into it. And we know that things like Houston is because this earth is growing old like a garment. We know that it won't last forever. Help us to be soul catchers. Help us to live as soul catchers and die as soul catchers. And help us stay out of the army of the wicked bound for hell. In Jesus' name, amen.